Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. It's another blessed day. Another blessed day. We are grateful to be on here and to connect once again. I hope that I hope that for
Good
those
morning. Good morning. It's another blessed
okay. I don't know what's going on, why this is playing. Okay. All right. For those of you who were unable to watch yesterday, I pray that you are able to watch it today and also have this follow up. So today we're going to talk about the male crisis, the male identity crisis, the male identity crisis. I'm going to start by defining crisis. What does crisis mean? Crisis is a time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger. There is a crisis in males because in this time, there is trouble because many men don't know their purpose. Many men don't know their assignment. Many men don't know why they're even here. So male identity crisis is in this season. All around us, we can see the men are in crisis. Men are in what? In crisis. And so our job is I want to bring a little bit of understanding on why men are going through what they are going through. I want to teach a little bit about the role of males, I want to teach on the roles of men and what has caused a lot of men to be in crisis. So if you are on, please share the broadcast with someone. Take a moment and put it on your WhatsApp status and let them know that we are on. So let me define husband. A husband, we know, is a married man, okay? A husband is a married man. But there's another definition of husband that we have to know to better understand what was originally intended. All right. So I'm going to definitely bring that about. Okay. I'll bring that about. We'll talk about what a husband is and what God originally intended. Yesterday, I went in and I talked about how when God created man, God positioned men. God positioned men in the Garden of Eden. God did not intend men to leave the garden, but rather the garden to function and flow around men. But men ended up leaving the garden in a sense by sinning and doing what God didn't told them not to do. I talked about how when God walked in the garden and saw Adam and Eve, they had placed some leaves and made them as clothes on themselves. God asked them, how do you know that you are naked? And their response was that we heard you coming and we just knew that we had to cover ourselves. They were covering their shame. They were covering their nakedness. The Bible had said in Genesis 2:25 that they were naked, both the men and the female, the men and the woman, and they were not ashamed. So the nakedness didn't bring shame before they sinned, but their nakedness brought shame after they sinned. So much shame that they had to cover themselves. When we leave the presence of God and do what God had told us not to do, we end up having to cover ourselves. We end up having to cover for ourselves, end up having to do for ourselves what God had done all along. So let's talk about this. the male identity crisis. Yesterday, I went in, I talked about what the garden, what God intended, where God placed men. But today I want to talk about why there's so much identity crisis in males. So much identity crisis because the male figure has been attacked. The male species has been attacked. All over, males are being attacked because the enemy knows that society rests on men. The very foundation of society rests on men, okay? Rests on men. So because of that, what the enemy is doing is causing men to not be a foundation, causing men to be in disarray, in crisis, causing men to not know their identity. Men's identity has been attacked all over the world. Culture is attacking the men identity. Society is attacking everywhere you turn. Women are attacking men's identity. And so when your identity is attacked, is questioned, you end up in crisis. And the crisis is what is causing a lot of men to misbehave. Is the crisis that is causing a lot of men to misbehave. God truly, men were created first, not because they are greater than males. Men was created according to the Bible in chapter 2 of Genesis. It says men was created from the earth. The earth, right? When God said he was going to make him a helpmeet, the Bible says that he took the ground and mixed it and formed Adam from the ground. And formed Adam from the ground. And then when he decided to make Eve, he made Eve from the rib of Adam. From the rib of Adam is when he made Eve. Because Adam was supposed to be the foundation upon which Eve rested. Eve came as a helper, but also to depend on men. So men were created from the earth to till the earth. So there was a connection to the earth from jump. They were the very foundation. And I'm going to tell you about foundations. Foundations are the very thing that a house needs. A house with a weak foundation will fall. It will crumble. And the foundation determines how much house you can put on. How tall, how much concrete can be contained by this foundation. So the foundation, you have to know what you're creating. The foundation will determine how much you can put on there. When you have a weak foundation, you cannot build too much house on it because it will crumble. Men were meant to be the very foundation and women to depend on men. But instead of that, a lot of women have tried to become the foundation of a home. And because that was not the original plan, the original intent of God, Father, help me. Many homes are crumbling because it's out of line. Many homes are out of line. So the very foundation of a lot of homes are crumbling. Society is crumbling because men have left their positions. Homes are breaking. Churches are breaking. It's only women in church. It's only women in most churches. It's an error. That is not what God intended it to be. When God placed Adam in the Garden of Eden, that is where there was going to be the presence of God. God placed Adam in a place where he can feel his presence all the day long. And he created man to come and till the ground, to work the ground. Because man was connected to the earth. And men knew what to do with the earth. Because he came from the earth. So men knew, I want you to share this broadcast. Men knew what to do with the earth. Families are breaking because there are no men in the family. Single parenting is on an all-time high. Today, there are women who are saying, I'm not married, but I want to have children. I'm not married, but I want to have children. And if you're not married and you want to have children, what ends up happening if you're not married and you want to have children, because women think that women like to take care of everything and everybody. I'm not married, but I want children because I have the money to take care. It's not money that takes care of a child. It's not money. A child needs their mother, but the child needs their father. Father equals destiny. Father is who creates destiny. Your father creates destiny. Did you hear me? Your father is who makes your destiny, because God created man and God had a purpose for men. And you, the father, when you give birth, you have a purpose for your child. You have a purpose for your child because you are the closest to God. You are the closest to God. But today, in today's homes, women are on their knees praying and men are playing outside. Women are on their knees praying. This is the error. I want us to be aware of the error. Send this to someone to watch. There is an error that is causing a crisis. And that crisis is what is causing homes to be broken. This is what's causing churches to break, because women alone cannot build a church. You need men to build churches. And you can look around you. Society is in shambles because there are no men in the home. There are no men in the home. And I'm going to take my time and break it down and show you where the crisis is coming from. And because we're living in error, that is why there's so much issues. Listen, you cannot take a fish out of water. The fish won't live. Share this with someone. The fish will not survive. You cannot take a fish out of water. The fish will not make it. The fish will not make it because the natural habitat of a fish is water. So if the fish is out of the water long enough, the fish will die. Man was placed in the Garden of Eden. It's heaven. It's mini heaven. Everything was in the garden. So the Bible says that the Lord told men, he blessed men and said, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. I gave you enough already in this garden that you're part of. I want you to be fruitful in this garden and to multiply in this garden and to subdue the garden, the earth, and have dominion over the fish. And man who is not in the presence of God cannot have dominion. You cannot subdue when you leave the presence of God. So it's natural habitat. He leaves the natural habitat. And what happens? The minute the man leaves the natural habitat, he doesn't function, because man was created for the presence of God and man is no longer in the presence of God. So man is going to lose his natural habitat and men will not function. So God created men to be the very foundation of the earth, the very foundation of a home. When you are building, I remember when we did our foundation, when we did the foundation, initially, we had a plan to have a certain height. But after a while, we looked at it and said, we don't want to waste the land. So let's build a little bit more. And because of that, they told us, the foundation. We need to go back to the foundation and thicken the foundation so the foundation can sustain the kind of building we wanted to place on that foundation. The foundation needed to be strengthened. Men is the very foundation on which children rise or rest. Men is the very foundation of any home. When there are no males in the home, there is no foundation. The foundation is too weak. The foundation is too weak when there aren't males in the home. Today we're looking for men. They are all in jail. We're looking for men. They are in jail. Man is taken out of his natural habitat to be free, to be fruitful. You can't be in jail and multiply. You can't be in jail and be fruitful. You can't be in jail and be having dominion. No, you can't be in jail. When in jail, you are subdued. So jail is not the natural habitat of a man. It's an error when a man is in jail. It's an error when there's a home and there's no father. I want to talk about the absent father. Tomorrow, I will talk about the absent father. The absent father. There are fathers in the home, but they are absent. So I will talk about that. Today, I want to focus on the crisis that men go through. There is so much crisis in society, in our culture, because men have not taken their rightful position. Men was meant to subdue, to replenish, to create, to protect. But men decided to leave its natural habitat, which is the presence of God, and relinquish the habitat for women, and allow their wives to be praying for them, allow their mothers to be weeping for them. And because of this error, society is in shambles. Men represent destiny because let me tell you why. Children get their, women specifically, girls, they get their identity from their father. It doesn't matter how much a woman does for a girl. When her father is in the picture, she's a different breed. When a woman does not have her father, she spends her whole life looking for her father. I was handling a case last week, and the young lady is 20 years old. She's dating a 59-year-old man. The young lady is 20 years old, dating a 59-year-old man. That's a young lady looking for her father. She didn't have her father. She's looking for her father. She looked around and said, I'm tired of these men. Men that are her age are immature. Share the broadcast with someone. Men that are her age, because the father was not there, the girl did not have anybody to protect her. She spent her whole life independent, doing things on her own, not trusting anybody. Because the last time she trusted somebody, a man took advantage of her. So this young lady is going through life without her father and is being molested and abused, and all kinds of things are happening to this girl. Her mother cannot protect her because maybe her mother is with another man who is also abusing the mother. So everywhere this child turns, there's no protection. So she ends up in any kind of relationship. She goes with a man her age. They are too immature. So she decides, I want to go for a grown man. I need a grown man. These men are too immature for me. So she gets a grown man. She gets a grown man. And that grown man has already lived his life. What is the 20-year-old doing with a 59-year-old? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You can't do anything with a 59-year-old. Another 50, 40 something year old can do something with them. You can't. Because this man has lived his life already. He is literally causing you to miss out on life because he has different interests. So today, a lot of young ladies are chasing after sugar daddies. If you see a young lady following a sugar daddy, it's because she's missing her daddy. Because in the real scheme of things, you will not naturally go for somebody who's in a completely different mindset than you, in a different stage of their lives. You will naturally not go for someone like that. Naturally, you will go for someone who is within your age group. naturally you will go for someone who's within your age group. When you find yourself going for someone who is much older, you are seeking after something. Nobody is there to protect the girl child. So she chases after her father. Girls become promiscuous because they are sleeping around trying to get attention, trying to get love. A woman gets her identity from her father. There are absent fathers, no fathers in the home. Because there are no fathers, the girls are suffering. The girls are suffering. So they're going to and fro. Men cannot subdue because God intended you to become the head. You are the head because you are the chief cornerstone. That is what God intended. Let me tell you why there's a crisis. Today, when a man meets a woman, women are becoming increasingly more educated than men. When a man meets a woman, even if he's a college educated, even if he works, you meet a woman your age, in her 20s, in her 30s. God forbid, you meet a woman in her 40s. This woman has bought a house. This woman has cars. This woman has children, maybe. So when the woman meets the man, all she's telling you, I don't need any drama. I don't need anything. Just be a man, give me sex, but don't come and give me drama because I can take care of myself. Men don't know where they fit because women don't need them as much as they used to need them. Your great-grandfather had a wife, had a life that was easier because back in the day, your great-grandfather was the provider. He gave the woman everything she needed. He took care of the household. He built the home with his hands. He did everything. He did everything. Today, women don't need men to do anything. Women have come to the place where they're independent. So you meet a woman and she tells you, I'm independent. I don't need you. So as a man, you begin to feel, where do I fit? So men have lost their natural habitat, their role to be the foundation upon which women rest, upon which the home rests. Because in that home, that woman is making more than the men. And women who have not been taught well, let the men know I'm making more than you. You don't amount to anything. You're not men enough. Because that woman is making the money. The woman is paying the bills. If the woman has children, her children tell you, you are not my father. You can't tell me what to do. You're not my father. And God forbid you're not able to have children as a man. Then you feel less than. So a lot of men are walking around thinking they are women. The men that are chasing after other men, they don't fit anywhere. Some of the men were molested. They were abused. So they don't feel safe. Not safe enough to allow somebody else in. So they go for another man who is unsafe. This is deep. That is why I'm coming to talk about, I'm not here blaming men. Don't come here thinking, oh, she's shaming men. No, I want to bring the root of the problem so we can begin to raise our men, our children differently. We can raise our homes. We can do things differently. That is why I'm bringing this up. So we can see the error in the way things are happening. So we can begin to heal the homes that are broken. It's an error when somebody's child is telling you, you're not my father. You don't know how to be a real man because you don't fit your own home. You live in the home, but the woman takes care of everything. Even if you work, your work is not enough. And if the woman is uncouth, she will let you know, I make more than you. She doesn't know how to preserve the ego of her man, protect her man. So men are in crisis. The male figure is under attack. Men need God's presence. That's their natural habitat. But men have left the presence of God. And all these things lead to resentment. The men become resentful. Resentful. So they're walking around angry. They're walking around just mad. They're angry because they don't fit anywhere. They're angry because they're supposed to be responsible and build, but they can't build anything. So they're living in resentment. They resent their wives. They resent their children. They're just resentful. You are a man in your own household. You can't speak. You're scared to talk. The Bible says that the Lord called the 12 disciples. They were men. They were men because God knew that if the men become positioned and know the word, they can teach. The disciples learned from Jesus and went about doing the same good Jesus was doing. The disciples went and became evangelists and went to become apostles and went to teach the word of the Lord because they learned from Jesus. They sat at the feet of Jesus and learned. When men lead, women follow. When men lead, women follow. Women like to follow, but they will only follow someone with a purpose. Women will only follow someone who knows their assignment, someone with a call. So a lot of women, they may get in a relationship with a man and they get easily bored because they want a man to lead. So women don't do well. The women who date younger men or marry younger men, they struggle. They struggle because they become very controlling. They become it's like they become mothers to these men. It's an error. It wasn't meant to be like that. So if Adam was created from the earth, even if Adam was born today, God created Adam today, and the next day he created Eve. Guess what? Adam is older than Eve. Oh, this may seem so petty, but Adam is older than Eve. But guess what? Today, many women want to date their children. Many women want to date men that are younger than them, thinking it makes them younger, it makes them feel good. Age is nothing but a number. No, it is not just a number. It matters. It counts. It matters and it counts. So a lot of men, this whole concept of the woman will be older. Women naturally are more mature because women are pushed into roles that matures them. So men are not forced. It's so crazy because when you're growing up, men are not taught to do certain things, to be independent, to learn to cook, to learn to clean. They leave everything to women. So women become more matured. Now you have a man who doesn't know how to cook, how to fend for himself. Meanwhile, the man is the provider. Shouldn't the provider know how to fend for himself? It's an error. Women, stop pressuring your girl children to do things and leaving the males somewhere. Leaving the man to go play soccer. That's it, go play soccer. It's an error. The man was working from the foundations of the earth. So you put the man to work. Go and clean the kitchen. Go and cook. Go put the men to work. If the men were put to work, they won't marry women and pressure the women to cook. And be upset over food. Upset over food, common food. Men come in and they are upset. You didn't make my food. And you're beating the wife because the wife didn't make your food. It's an error. When men lead, women follow. If your house is in shambles, ask yourself, where is my position as a man? Your position is undefined. It's unclear. You have not set a clear demarcation who you are. We cannot distinguish you from children. We can't distinguish you from your wife. So the wife is picking up. The women are in the churches. The women are praying the men through. The women are believing God for their men. The women are standing for their men. Women were not the foundation of the earth. Men were supposed to be the foundation. So as a man, when you do not strengthen yourself, learn, work, teach, grow, pray. When a man is not, you are supposed to cover your wife and your children. That is your position. You can't have dominion upon the principalities and powers if you, the men, don't pray. There's no dominion in that home. The enemy is coming and stealing from that home because the man has not stood. The man didn't stand and pray. The man cannot be found in the home. The man is physically there, but he's absent. And absent fathers create children that are vagabonds. Absent fathers create children that have issues. Absent fathers. Just being in the home is not enough. You must be active in the home. The prodigal son failed because the prodigal son, one day he forced his father to give him his inheritance. Meanwhile, the inheritance belonged to the son all along. But the prodigal son took the inheritance and went to another location. The man was supposed to be fruitful, multiply what was in the house, replenish, and subdue it. After doing all of that, the man will have dominion over the earth. The prodigal son needed training, so he needed to work with his father to learn, to grow, to learn how to manage the business, multiply the business, replenish what the father already had. But instead, the prodigal son took what was in the training room and went to another place because he missed the location. The place he was supposed to go and grow was the wrong place. So he went there to grow and he couldn't grow because when he left his natural habitat, he had not prepared and learned how to till the ground. He didn't learn how to be in the garden. The garden was where his father was. The father provided everything. And he was the owner of everything. But the prodigal son left. In other words, when you leave the presence of God, you will not gain dominion. You will not replenish. You will not create. Because if you're not in the presence of God, you most likely are not doing what God asks you to do. The purpose to your assignment, you're not doing it. That divine purpose, that divine destiny is not being fulfilled because God will reveal that to you. The Creator will show you what He intended you to become. So men are in shambles. Their identity is in crisis. Because everywhere they turn, the men is affected. Women don't make them feel like men. They don't know who they are. So men become aggressive. The aggression is just anger. This is the men saying, I'm angry about, I can't express myself in my own home. I'm angry. So the man becomes abusive. The man has no say. The man is eating his emotions, eating his feelings. The man is made to think by a woman, I don't need you. And women will actually say that. Get out of my house. I don't need you. Because many women are increasingly educated and are buying homes. So when the man comes, I tell women this, it's an error to take care of a man. If you find yourself taking care of a man, it's an error. Men are not comfortable when women take care of them. So you may have a man where you tell him, I've been working, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I go to work, and when I come back, you're over here cheating on me. Yes, because men will not function when he's not leading. A man is only as useful as him being on an assignment. So when men are not leading, they feel useless. When men are not providing, they feel useless. So there are women today who find men and all they do is they want to take care of the men. You know, they marry the men with their own money. Let's talk about it. Mail-ordered grooms. They go marry the men with their own money because the woman is stable. They bring the men. When the men come, the man says, I don't want to work. Or the man comes and he enjoys your money while mistreating you because you have made it clear that all you needed was a man in the house. So the man is present, but he's absent. The man is physically there, but he's absent. Because a father builds, a father tills, a father creates, a father will mold. All the homes, all these young men in the gangs, they didn't have a father. All these young men in the gangs that didn't have a father. Jail is not a natural habitat for a man. There are sometimes we miss it. We miss it because the father is not playing its role. Women can't raise men. It's men that raises men. It's men that raise men. Women can't raise men. You can provide for the man, but you cannot raise a man to become. Because the foundation of a man is another man. God created men and made men the foundation, the chief cornerstone of a home. But many homes have no fathers. So I'm speaking to a woman today. Don't look at your financial status and say, I want to have children. You are creating more havoc in this world. Children are a gift. Don't mean don't go sleep around and have children anyhow. Don't do it. You are creating a generation of angry men, angry women, women that are promiscuous, women that are just going to and fro. When you lay down to have a child, ask yourself, can this man father my children? I was dating a guy years ago, maybe 12 years ago. He was a good guy. But he had a small problem. All he cared about was himself. This man only cared about himself. He was very, very selfish. A father cannot be selfish. There are men in homes, all they do is spend the money, buy clothes, buy gadgets, buy things, and ignore the children. Because the man has no identity, no self-confidence, no self-esteem, doesn't know where it fits. So he uses clothes. He uses cars, buying cars to feel like he's also somebody. And every little thing will anger the man. Every little thing will make him upset because he's looking and saying, no, I don't want this. He doesn't know where he fits. Men don't feel like they're the center of society. They're the chief cornerstone. So they're running around, sleeping with this person, sleeping with that person, running here, running there. All the cheating, all the abuse, because men don't know who they are. They don't know their purpose. What will make an uncle go for a niece? What will make an uncle go for a niece? He doesn't have a purpose. He doesn't know who he is. So he thinks his thing is supposed to go into any woman. And the niece is a woman, so let me go after the niece and abuse the niece. The man is in disarray, in shambles. He doesn't know. So he drinks alcohol. The man is on drugs because the reality doesn't look good. So the lack of identity is causing a lot of men to do these things. How do you help? Be there as a woman for a brother. Be there as a woman for a son. Be there for them. Encourage them. Build their self-confidence. Everything is coming against the men, especially Black men. Everything is fighting the Black male figure. Men in general, but specifically Black men, are in serious crisis. All of the guns, all of the murders, all of the killing, all of the gang life is because there's no men in the home. Men, take your position. Get help if you need help. Maybe that is your situation. You're watching me today, and that is your situation. You've gone through all these things, abuse. You know, your mother abused you, your aunties, your people talk you down. People don't make you feel like you matter. Maybe you went through all these things. Get help. Go to therapy. Pray to God. Get close to God. Ask him to help you. Recover from all the addiction. The pornography, all of that is men who have weak minds. It's for men who have weak minds. Men who don't have anything else going, so they fall prey to these things. You are enough. You don't have anything to prove. You were positioned in the garden. Your position is to subdue, is to have dominion, is to take your rightful position in the Garden of Eden. So everything else around you can function. If things are not functioning around you, go back to the source, God. Ask him to show you who you are. Recover your identity. Don't allow the enemy to steal your identity and tell you you're a woman. You're not a woman. No matter what you do, wigs don't make you a woman. You are not a woman. You are a man after God's heart. You deserve to walk like a man and do what men do, what God intended. Work, hard labor, work, take care of your children. You are the foundation. Today, men get married, then they say, oh, I was gay. Break the homes entirely. You are not gay. Somebody made you think the way you are thinking. You're in shambles. Things happen to you that shouldn't have happened to you. So you're telling yourself, this is who I am. This is not who you are. This is what society has made you to become. We must recognize pain. We must recognize mental health in men. A lot of men, they just kill themselves because they need help. If you're a man, you are looking, you're like, I'm suffering inside. Don't go for a woman who will control you. Don't go for a woman who's like your mother. Don't go for a woman. Find a woman that will bring out, that will help you recover. Because many men are doing all kinds of things because they're in pain. The weakness in the mind is causing that pain, that man to go and cheat. Because you see, a lot of women will say, oh, he went for a woman that doesn't even look like me. She looks a mess. Yes, that woman who doesn't look good, that you think is too fat, that woman that doesn't, makes that man feel like a king. That woman is making him feel like a king because he's already in crisis. So when he meets a woman who knows how to talk a little bit, he falls for the woman. He didn't go to cheat, but he met a woman who was understanding. He met a woman who was, do you understand? So it doesn't excuse the cheating. I'm just trying to show you why a lot of men end up cheating. And they go for somebody less than their wives. Yes, less educated, less beautiful, less whatever. Less sexy, yes. Because that woman you're looking at, you're saying, this woman is not even my type. She doesn't look anything like me. She doesn't look like you, but she also makes him feel like he's a king. When he's with a woman, he feels needed. He feels important. We make men feel like they're not needed. We make men feel like they're not important. We make them feel like they don't matter. We make them feel like they don't matter. We make them feel like they don't matter in their homes and they don't matter outside. So when they go, they feel like, oh, somebody give me attention. That's what happens to a girl who doesn't have her father. She goes out, men give her attention, she opens her legs. Because she doesn't have her father to tell her, expect this much. She doesn't have her father to show her, this is what you're supposed to expect in a man. Look at the way I treat your mother. Look at this. So women with good relationship, their mother showed them, look at your father. Their father was there and said, don't bring this bomb to my house. Don't bring that gangster to my house. Their father was there. But for women, where their father was not there, they did anything. Because they look at their mother and say, oh, their mother had a man and the man provided. He was a little abusive, but he provided. Oh, that's all part of love. It's not part of love. The Bible says, get wisdom. In all that getting, get understanding. Men don't have understanding because they're not in the presence of God. Many men lack understanding. You're talking to a man and he's like, he doesn't want to listen to nothing because there's no understanding. There's no understanding. Solomon went to God. God gave him wisdom. Where are you going as a man? You're going to a girl. So a lot of men, their friends were girls. Why? My best friend is a girl. To do what? Your best friend, how is your best friend a girl? And that leads you into a lot of trouble, a lot of problem. Because women can't trust men and men can't trust women. So you're going for a girl who's your best friend. Next thing you know, you're wearing the clothes that your friend that's a girl is wearing, the wig that the friend that's a girl is wearing. Because you connect so much with a friend and cannot connect with a male figure because you're angry with your father. The father never told you he loves you. The father never told you he likes you. The father was never there. He neglected you. Men get up and leave their wife and children and go for another young girl they found. That's the man who doesn't know his purpose. You can't be building and leaving your family. You're not building. You can't be building and leaving your family. No. So many men, they have children all over. How do you have children the same age? You can't have 5 children the same age. That means you're sleeping around. So all they tell you, men has now summarized themselves into their male part. You think you're only good. So men do everything to become good in bed. That's all you are good for. The woman wants you for this, your thing. That's why the woman is coming to you, because the way you shake her waist. But she doesn't respect you otherwise. You're not men enough. But she will take you for the sex because that's all she needs, really. She has the money. She has the house. She wants peace of mind. Give me the sex. Don't bring me any disease. So you do everything and you bring yourself down to sex. So you see a man who's addicted, who's on drugs, who's up, but he's good in bed. A man who doesn't work, he's just a bum. He's good in bed. And you, the woman, you are taking care of the man, thinking it's normal. It's not normal. It's an error. You end up taking care of a man. He will mistreat you because he doesn't know how to. That's not his natural habitat. You're supposed to depend on him. When the roles are reversed, it doesn't work. So as the woman, you're tired because you want the men to lead so you can follow. You marry the men you don't respect. Many women marry men they don't respect. So homes are breaking because I'm married to a man I don't respect. How can I respect the man? He's not even a good father. How can I respect him? A lot of women are going around telling themselves that. They can't honor the man because the man is not playing his role. He left his natural habitat of caretaking. Now the man is playing the woman's role. The man is not a go-getter. I rest with this. You all have an amazing day. Tomorrow we will talk about, what did I say we'll talk about tomorrow? Today we did the identity crisis, the male identity crisis. Tomorrow we'll talk about absent fathers tomorrow. So join me tomorrow. Let someone know we are on, and share the broadcast with someone. Share it with your brother, share it with your husband, share it with your boyfriend, share it with somebody. Get help as a man and heal from all the trauma you went through, and take your rightful position so that society can have men to rest on. So homes